Hey everybody, it's Justin here, and I'll be reviewing The Monuments Men along with my good friend 22TigerDude. I will be starting the review, and my good friend 22TigerDude will be finishing the review for us. The Monuments Men is about an unlikely World War II platoon who is tasked with rescuing art masterpiece from Nazi thieves and returning them to their owners. And this has a stellar cast of George Clooney, Matt Damon, Cate Blanchett, John Goodman, Bill Murray, John Gerard, and is also directed by George Clooney. I was actually really looking forward to seeing this movie. The set designs, the costumes, the plot, the music, the trailer, it looked really great, a very promising movie. I was disappointed that it was pushed back till February now, but I gotta say that this movie is a little bit disappointing. This movie has been getting a lot of mixed reviews going for it. I was actually thinking that this movie would be amazing because of the great talent it had going for it, and it's directed by George Clooney, who's a tremendous, great actor. But there's something about this movie that it was a little bit boring at times, and also a lot of scenes were kind of fast-paced, a lot of quick jumping scenes from one scene to the other, and that allowed for not knowing the characters that well and not understanding who these characters are. That there's so many great actors in this movie that I really felt like they were fighting for screen time. You didn't get a sense of who these characters were because they were all fighting for screen time. You didn't really feel like, George Clooney, Matt Damon pretty much headlined this movie, but I really felt like they weren't in this movie that much because everybody was fighting for screen time. I know George Clooney was in it a little bit more than Matt Damon, but I just can't. I left the movie theater thinking these actors weren't in it that much because it's a little under 2 hours. I think it's like an hour and 55 minutes. It's a little bit of a long movie, but you don't really get to even know who these characters are. I felt like Matt Damon wasn't there a lot because he was off doing his own thing, and Bill Murray and John Goodman were in there, and John Gerard had the least amount of time in the movie. But I just really felt like these actors were fighting for screen time, and that allowed for not knowing who these characters were, and that bad character development in the movie. Also, this movie was a little bit boring at scenes. In this movie, it's a pretty great plot actually. When I look at it more, it's a great plot, but it's boring. The things I did love about this movie, and I loved about this movie, was the humor between Bill Murray and the guy named Preston in the movie. Really funny between both of them. I had a great time laughing at both of them bickering at each other, and I loved the set design, I loved the costume design, and I loved the soundtrack and the score for the movie. It was amazing. All of it was very believable that it was actually made in the 1940s. Very great job George Clooney did at directing the 1940s look, and people who came together to make the production designs and costumes and the score. It was very, very great. But overall, this movie was a little bit boring at times, not very good character development, and you just didn't get to know these characters at all. And it was sad because all these actors are great and they didn't get to showcase their skills at all. So I'm going to go ahead and give The Monuments Men a C. I was actually a bit disappointed with this movie. So 22TigerDude, what's your thoughts on The Monuments Men?
Thank you, Justin, for having me review The Monuments Men with you, man. Look, it's right there. How awesome is that? The Monuments Men was a film that got mixed reviews. A lot of people seemed to be bored by it. Critics seemed to be disappointed by it as well. But I was still really excited for the film. I wasn't going to let the reviews get in my way. After watching The Monuments Men, it's definitely not a masterpiece. It wasn't the groundbreaking film I was hoping it would be. But I still think it's a satisfying film. I liked this film a lot, and there were impressive things about The Monuments Men. I thought George Clooney did a good job directing this film, and I thought he did a good job writing this film as well. The performances by George Clooney are great, as well as Matt Damon, John Goodman, Bill Murray, Cate Blanchett, and more. And I was really invested in this film the whole time. I thought it had really good dialogue. It is a talking film, and a lot of people did seem to be bored by the talking, and I could agree with the whole there's too much talking, and it is understandable why people would be bored by it. But me, I wasn't bored by the Monuments Men just because I was so invested in the dialogue. I was so invested in the storyline, where it was going to go, all these art pieces thing, what Hitler is doing. And this film was based on a true story, so it's part of our history. And it made me like the film. There really was a good storyline behind it. I also thought the music in The Monuments Men is absolutely incredible. I thought it was awesome and it matched the film well. It flowed well with the film. My only problems with The Monuments Men is that the editing in this film can be jumpy at times. Certain moments in this film can get a little rushed. I do feel like there wasn't enough character development just because we're going kind of back and forth a little all over the place. There was still character development, but I just didn't feel like there was a whole lot. I would have loved to see more character development going on. And there was just honestly a moment where I was a little bored by the film, but it was just one moment. That was really it. I was still invested in The Monuments Men. Definitely not a perfect film like I was expecting it to be, but I still think it's a damn good movie. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to be in the minority when I say I actually liked The Monuments Men. I felt like it was a nice, refreshing film. And George Clooney himself, he said how he didn't make this film to win the Oscars. This is just a film for you to just have fun at the movies. Definitely not an Oscar contender movie, and George Clooney, he didn't go for that, which I think is good. I really appreciated the film, and I appreciated what George Clooney was going for, and I say it worked for me. I like The Monuments Men, and I'm going to give the film a B. Thanks again, Justin, for having me review The Monuments Men on your channel. I am 22TigerDude, and on Justin's channel, I will always have Tiger Power!